Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rebel Chums channel. This video is all about you. You are probably gonna buy your first lightsaber and looking for some tips. So I'm gonna give you some tips. We're gonna start with a few basic things, a few categories that we basically have to keep in mind when we're gonna do a purchase for a lightsaber. Now, for example, I got a lightsaber here. This is the Graflex kit by Corband, and it's an empty hilt, there's no electronics in there, etc, etc, etc. So there's a few things we're gonna look for when we buy a lightsaber. First, and that's the most important part, budget. How much money are you willing to spend on a lightsaber? Is it $50? Is it $100? Is it $500? Is it maybe $1,000? Or maybe even more? It really depends on how much money are you willing to put in your first lightsaber. That's a really important factor that determines everything. Once you get that information, also look at, do you want to have a lightsaber that just is an empty hilt that you just want to display on your shelves like a really cool shelf queen? Or you want to have a stunt saber, that means there's only light coming out of the blade basically, and there's no sound. You have the light but you have no sound. That is a cheaper option. It's called a stunt saber. Then you have your saber with a soundboard, which has sounds and lights, etc. And then there are variations between that from different brands. You have your Alter Sabers, you have your Saber Forts, you have your Vader's Vault, you have your Saber Mach, etc, etc, etc. There's a whole bunch of companies that provide you with lightsabers that either are in a stunt setup, so only light, or with a soundboard. You can pick and choose from there. Now, when you're gonna make your first purchase, you're gonna first know what you want. You need to understand what you want. So you just want to have a nice cool empty hilt that you want to display, carry, can be cheaper, or like a really nice replica. This is a nice, decent, nice replica by Corband. I think new they cost you roughly $200 and you have a really nice replica of Luke Skywalker lightsaber as seen in The Empire Strikes Back. Really nice. Put it on your shelf, put it on your belt, non-functional, but really nice looking. Now, if you say, no, I actually do want to have a blade that lights up and I can duel with it, I can smack my friends, I can do some saber spinning with it, then of course you want to look for a saber that has those qualities. So you go to the websites such as Alter Saber, Saber Forge, Vader's Vault, etc. and you're gonna start look around for hilts that you want to have. Now, in that case, you already probably know how much you roughly want to spend. Do understand if you're going to get a lightsaber with sound and with an in-hilt LED or NeoPixel, all those information you can also find back on my YouTube channel. So definitely check out my previous videos or my reviews. You can get a lot of information there for your first purchase. But it's really important that you decide based on the technology that goes into the lightsaber, how much are you willing to spend, because you can make it really crazy and spend hundreds and hundreds of US dollar on your first lightsaber without a second of hesitation, because that is it's really easy to get in that price range with a custom lightsaber. So be very aware of that when you go into the realm of a lightsaber with sound, light, and some premium features such as flash on clash, maybe NeoPixel, etc., you're easily going into a few $100s. So that is something to be considering, especially as your first lightsaber. You have no experience with lightsabers, you have no experience with non-officially Disney licensed lightsabers, because these are made by third-party companies. These are not affiliated with Disney. They're making their own replicas, etc. So in the beginning, that is a bit scary. I totally understand. I had the same. So what I did, and it might be a tip for you, for some people, is I started with Ultra Sabers. I bought my first few Ultra Sabers, and based on those experiences, I decided to move ahead to more luxury, more premium lightsabers from different brands. So I bought a few grab racks, I believe, or very cheap stunt sabers, and they worked. They worked. They were basic. There was not much to look at. The hilt itself, the hilt, this whole metal tube thing, there wasn't much to look at with the entry levels of Ultra Sabers, because you start at the lower price tier, so they don't have all the cool outlooks, exterior and interior. The electronics are not super fancy either. So you start on the bottom, and that's in the price range of a Hasbro Black Series lightsaber, for example. So you have to offset that. Do you want to have a Hasbro Black Series lightsaber that you buy at Toys R Us or other toy shop? You just take it home. It's an officially Disney licensed product. It looks very similar to this hilt, but inside the electronics are very subpar, of course. They're very soft sounding. The swing effects are very lame and tame. The light coming out of the blade is quite dull, etc. Not many cool features it has. The hilt, etc., is not all metal. It's all plastic, and not all alloy. It's all mixture of plastic pieces and rubber pieces. It's not like this replica from the custom saber shop. So yeah, you have to make some trade-offs there, and see for yourself if that's worth for you, to either go for an official licensed products that isn't like super there's not super much to them. They're cool to display, they look good on the shelf, don't get me wrong. Those Hasbro Black Series lightsabers or the Disney Parks exclusive lightsabers do look very good. They do look very good, but functional wise they're really underwhelming, because they're just not made of the materials that these kind of custom sabers are made of, that you can buy of the core band, Vaderfold, Saberforts, etc, etc, etc. Because those lightsabers are often also designed and made for dueling and spinning and just cosplay in general, and just they're higher quality, and that's why you're gonna pay more. And that's also a bit of the misconception in the beginning. You think, well, these guys should be cheaper, right? Because they're aftermarket, they're not officially licensed, etc. No, they're actually going to be way more expensive in general than what you can officially buy retail in the stores that is officially licensed by Disney. Now, of course, people are buying these Disney parks lightsabers, etc., and reselling them for high prices. So don't look at those prices. Look at the retail prices of officially Disney licensed products, because you should hold that price range. So that's the big thing. Then you're gonna purchase a lightsaber. No, you're gonna buy a custom saber from the Saberforts, Ultra Sabers, and whatnot, and you're gonna start off, depending on your budget, on your willingness to spend how much on your first lightsaber. You want to do it in one time, right? Go to the higher tier stuff. If you want to do a good purchase in one go to the Facebook groups, the Vault, the Elite Lightsaber Club, Elite Lightsaber group, the Lightsaber Club, etc., etc., etc. Go to those groups and ask them, hey guys, I'm looking at, give them a few brands and hilts you're looking at. Like, I'm looking at this Ultra Sabers this with this soundboard, I'm looking at this Saberforts this, and I'm looking at this Vaderfold, blah blah blah. I just give an example, and then you ask some opinions. Now be prepared to get some really nasty comments and positive comments and everything in between. And then from there, you also watch YouTube videos, watch my review videos, for example, with all my lightsaber reviews, and that can help you to make a conclusion based on the opinions from different people, your own feelings. Because if you really like the hilt of company A, etc., 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 then that's a feeling, that's a connection you have with that design, and that's mostly still stronger than most people's opinions. And then you are molding yourself to get ready to make a purchase. And yeah, that can be really depending on your budget, be a stunt version, can be a version with a premium soundboard or a budget soundboard setup. A lot of companies do have these options, so there's something for everybody. And what I did for my first lightsabers, as I said, I went for Ultra Sabers, stunt sabers, because I didn't really want to spend $300-$400 on a product that I've never owned or had experience with. I did know from the get-go that there are certain brands that have higher quality, etc., because I already did some research on the Facebook groups, but I was still too hesitant on just flush out $300+. So I bought some couple of cheap Ultra Sabers lightsabers. I think they're in the $70 range, which is relatively inexpensive in the custom saber community or industry. So I bought two of them. I was not satisfied with them. That was my personal choice and personal opinion. You can see my videos. Just search for Rebel Chance with Ultra Sabers and you see why. And that is again based on my opinions and my experiences. I wasn't too keen on it, not too happy with it. So I moved over to other companies to try them out. Saber Forts, Vader's Vault, Saber Mox, Saber Trio, Ultimate Works, many more. And ever since I've been really addictive to collecting custom lightsabers, playing with them, and having fun with them. But it's really important that you really try to, for yourself, like literally for yourself, figure out what you want. And the budget is super important. Then what kind of connection you have with the hilt. So you look at a couple of reviews, you look at some pictures, and you will be drawn to a certain hilt design of a certain company, and where you say, wow, I really want to have that hilt. It really fits my character, my Star Wars character, or it fits my needs of heavy dueling, or it fits my need of spinning lightsabers, or it fit my need of just a budget, and I just want to have a glowy stick. So once you make those decisions and you've done some research about the companies, you go ahead. Now, I already can tell you, Alter Sabers, Saber Forts, Vader's Vault, Saber Moss, Saber Trio, Ultimate Works, the Pastor, Wonder Force, Electrum Sabers Crafts, Solos Hold. Well, although that is not really a company that sells complete saber, well, at times those are those are companies you can completely trust. There are multiple more. Those companies they won't scam you out of your money. What happens is you order a lightsaber, it takes weeks, maybe some months before you receive it, and there's no communication in between. And 99% of the times you don't have to be worried. It will be delivered. It's just the communication in most of the companies that build custom sabers, there's not super great. So keep that in mind. The communication and updates will be lacking. So you won't get updates maybe for a couple of weeks or months till you receive your lightsabers. If you're really keen on getting lightsabers fast, the only option you have is go with Ultra Sabers. They deliver super fast, but I also feel because they deliver super fast, in general, the quality of the hilts and the products are a bit less satisfying, in my opinion. But that's a personal opinion. But there's options out there. So also, if you need if you're in a time constraint, definitely check out where to buy your lightsaber from. I would say Alter Sabers is the fastest, and most other companies they're in the they're in the range between a month and 3 months of lead time. I remembered with The Force Awakens when I bought my first Vader's Vault lightsaber, which was the Acolyte. It took well over 3.5 months before I received my lightsaber. So that's living in agony, waiting for a high-end lightsaber to come in, and that was tough as nails because you just want to have it the next day, but that's not gonna happen. So be prepared to be patient. Patience is gonna be key in the custom lightsaber collecting scene. Truthfully key, like super. You need to be super zen with yourself and just be patient because it will come. Most of these companies are mom and pop shops. You don't see it from the website, but there really are mom and pop shops. There's a couple of employees tying ends together, making lightsabers for a living, and it's just they're constrained with what they have available as resources and whatnot. So be patient. Custom sabers do take time to be made. Okay, be aware of that. So when you get your lightsabers, once you made your purchase, you ordered your lightsaber, you get the lightsaber, you will be really pleasantly surprised by how cool these things are. And then you really get into, wow, there's so many cool movie related Star Wars lightsabers that I want to own. And then you see something that's from the cartoons, and then you see something that's made by a saber company as their own design, and it starts rolling like a snowball of a mountain. You start to really enjoy custom sabers. So yeah, it's addictive. It's really addictive. It's just super addictive. Like there's no other way around. I'm doing this for almost 5 years now, and it's just super addictive. Custom lightsabers are super addictive, and it's so fun. But yeah, be aware. Make sure you get the right lightsaber for your needs. Or you're gonna do dueling or spinning, that requires a different lightsaber that doesn't have all the bits and pieces. For example, this is not really a good dueling hilt because you have the big control box. You have a lot of little loose pieces, etc. When you go bash really hard, all those pieces will potentially break off, hurt your hand, doesn't give you a lot of grip area to thrust that blade into your opponent. So you need to think about, okay, I'm gonna do dueling, buy a lightsaber that is more like a real life sword handle, because then you have, basically you're going to wield it more like a sword than a lightsaber, because the stick is plastic, right? The blade is plastic, so you're going to treat it more like a sword. And that's why you need to choose your hilt to be reflecting that real life human sword, more than having a really cool Star Wars piece that doesn't really allow itself for really good dueling. Same with spinning. You want a hilt that have enough space to spin the lightsaber without hurting your hand or cutting, etc. And of course, for cannon hilts, cosplay, etc., you want to have a really fancy hilt, like really good looking hilt. So you need to make a choice there. Again, budget. It's so important. People can recommend 600, say 700 US dollar lightsabers to you. For example, they recommend you to buy a Vader's Fold NeoPixel lightsaber, a 400, 500, 600 US dollar, and it just happens so you only have a budget of 70 US dollar. Then of course, logically, you will not look at a lightsaber with sound, etc. Just look at a lightsaber that is just a stunt setup that just has the light, because at 70 US dollar, in 99% of the cases, there's no soundboard on the market that includes it. And a lightsaber with light and a soundboard for 70 US dollar, that's just great. Their soundboards are underwhelming. They're YDD lightsabers. They're not bad, but they're just like the swing sounds like ying, ying, ying. They're not really responsive. There's minimal effects. There's maybe no flash or clash effects, etc., etc., etc. It's just an underwhelming overall package, because you make so many compromises to get to that point of buying your first lightsaber at a very tight budget, and you want to have all of those features. And most of the cases that does not work together. Like, I never seen a lightsaber of 70 or 100 US dollar that has all that good stuff. Maybe secondhand, yes, but that we're talking about retail now. I never seen it. And then the alternative is not, of course, to buy $100 Black Series Luke Skywalker or Rey lightsaber, because those ones have sound and light, but it's a compromise. The sound and light isn't great on those products that are officially licensed by Disney, and the hilt itself is also not really great because it's all plasticky, etc. But then again, it's a replica for 100 US dollar. This is a custom saber replica for 200 US dollar or a bit more, and it's just nothing inside. It's just an empty tube. So that's a thing to consider as well. So and nobody blames you if you're just getting into the realm of collecting officially licensed Disney lightsabers. If you like those and you're just super content and happy with those, just go for it. But I do not recommend to duel with it, to spin with it, or do crazy with it. Just turn them on, off, play a little bit with it at home, or maybe cosplay. If that satisfies your needs, then that's great. So I hope this video was useful. If you guys say, hey, please talk more about this topic, I think I can have a lot of benefits from you talking more about first lightsaber purchases, recommendations, etc., etc. I make part 2, 3, 4, 5 on a request. Leave it in the comments and I will get into that for sure. Yeah, it's really important that you watch these kind of videos, so you are making the right choices and spending your money wisely. Maybe you don't care, you have just money to burn and you're like, whatever, I'm gonna burn some money today, I'm gonna buy some really expensive nice lightsabers. Go for it. Hopefully this video helped you as well to make that decision. So thanks for watching, see you next video, bye bye. We still on.